Hi, you're back with Ruben and Chris from Movies and Munchies. I'm Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday. We're doing the best thing we watched this week again, kind of, or maybe it might not be all the best things we've watched this week, but we're eager to talk about the kind of things that kind of dropped this week and a few maybe things that we've seen before but watched this week. I guess that makes sense. So, Chris, what's first on your list?
Okay, you talked about this last week. I finally saw it because it released in the U.S., but the Suicide Squad. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So much bonkers fun. I mean, I just had a great time at the movies, you know? I mean, that's what it was. It was just so much fun. The violence, I don't know, can we talk about spoilers?
Yeah,
Should
it's
we
out
talk
now.
about spoilers?
Yeah. Let's do
Okay.
spoiler warning.
Yes, just so you know, huge spoiler warning here. I mean, the fact that James Gunn kills off so many at the very beginning, that I was like, oh, okay.
It kind of sets up the theme, doesn't it?
But,
It kind of lets you know what you're in for.
It really does. And I mean, I don't think you can be too upset that these characters die just because of the entire title of the movie, you know. But I had seen some people like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that Pete Davidson is finally in this, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna be disappointed.
One of my favorite characters, I was really hoping that he had a bigger moment, and that was the Javelin, because I'm a huge fan from YouTube, and
Flula
yeah,
Borg.
yeah,
Is that
and
his name?
he's got
Okay.
this fantastic dry wit comedy. And so the way he was just taken out, I was like, no, not Javelin.
Well, I remember you saying, don't get too attached to pretty much
Yeah.
anybody, because that's how it was. Like, I mean, I was surprised first off, let's see that the Ratcatcher 2 and Polka Dot
Yeah.
Man. Okay, first off, I think two of the most ridiculous characters, names, you know, things like, how are these even superheroes? I was so invested in them. I mean, they became part of the favorites for me. And especially, I think, like, I loved Ratcatcher 2. I mean, just her sensibility, her compassion, the warmth that she brought, and how she softened out some of the characters. But then Polka Dot Man, I mean, when he finally comes into his own and he's like, yes! And then I'm like, dang it,
It was that great hero moment. He says, I am a hero. I'm a hero. And just, I was like, that was like a gut punch. It was like...
Wait, what? I was because, like, I thought, oh my gosh, we've made it to the end of the movie, you know, and he's going to continue on because I like this dude a lot. And no.
Gunn managed to make his powers not, like, stupid. Like, they were horrific good. Like, you know, just kind of disintegrating everything in their path. It was like, damn. And when we find out what they're actually made out of, you're like, oh, okay, this is way darker than I was expecting.
Oh, yeah. And I wonder if at some point we might get backstories, like origin stories of some of these, because as he talks about his mom experimented on him and his brothers and sisters to try and make them superheroes, you know, and then it's an interdimensional virus.
I'd watch that.
Like, there is so much to unpack right there that I want to know more.
Absolutely. Also, Ratcatcher, you know, played by Taika, who was fantastic.
Oh, yes.
But that was like quite a Pied Piper sort of storyline, and I think that could be really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think he would. I mean, he brings with I don't know how to pronounce the Ratcatcher 2's. It's Melchior.
Yeah, I'm not
something.
I'm
Yeah,
not
her.
trying.
She has that you know, that warmth, that softness, that compassion, and then Taika could bring the comedy and the weirdness, and them together, I think, would work really well too.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really fun. And then some of them that we thought were dead didn't die. So Weasel, obviously, was like just kind of going, you know, coughing up a furball, and off he goes into like, what's happened? What did I miss?
Yeah.
Amazing.
The weirdest, I mean, probably the weirdest character, right? And we waited through all of the credits because I wanted to make sure I saw any end credit scenes, and but I had a feeling that as I was watching him kind of walk, that it was Sean Gunn playing that, because he has that characteristic, and Sean Gunn kind of walks that way, I think, normally. When I think back to him in like Gilmore Girls and stuff, he has kind of a weird gait to the way he walks, and so it was funny to see him, just in there doing that.
Have you seen what is named in the credits? So it's really funny because it's Crisp Rat, which is a joke on Chris Pratt, which is
I did not see that.
That's nod to just hilariousness. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go back and watch, because I watched it at a media screening early in the week in the theater. And then on Thursday, my youngest son, once he got home from work, because he wasn't able to go to the screening, we watched it again on HBO Max, and it was just as fun the second time around. I mean, I had a blast watching it, and it actually moved by faster than I remembered it doing in the theater.
Interesting. Did you watch?
So I don't know.
Credit scenes?
I did. Yeah.
So what's your? We talk, as we're talking spoilers? What's your theory on? I guess the second one.
Yeah, well, I when I was looking up something on IMDb, I did see that the Peacemaker series is now in post-production, I think, for HBO Max. And so I'm really excited for this, because for I think the first time, kind of like I think you said, that I liked John Cena. Like, I thought he was a really good character, and I liked him as an actor in this.
I thought he was really dark in places he needed to be, but then he had comedic moments that were so dry and off the wall that really worked. Just him walking around in his, tidy whities, but with just straight laced, and like, how hard must that be to just keep doing dialogue just like that? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that was a blast. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I am looking forward to the Peacemaker series. I didn't see when it was coming out. My guess is it's probably coming out relatively soon, so that they can ride the wave.
Maybe beginning of next year, because it's done. They're in post production, so editing, I guess.
Yeah, that'll be nice, and it'll be interesting to see where they take that, how they how they expand not only on his story, but then what does that mean for DC. And I saw something, and I didn't really read into it, but that James Gunn is on board to do more. Yes. Like, he has more ideas. He wants to participate in the DC world. I don't know if it's part of the universe or not, but it's definitely, he wants to be part. And so I think that will be a lot of fun to allow him to just go nuts again with another property or continue on this story.
I mean, if this is what he does with Suicide Squad, then give him more creative license.
Absolutely. He has shown that, be risky, take those plunges, and then just be insane when the story calls for it. And I think this was one that really needed just that, that off the wall, the bizarre, you did that? Really? That's how you're... Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. What's something that you watched this week? What's the best thing you watched?
So I was at my parents' place this week, and so I had to choose titles that I knew that they would be okay for them to watch. Because, when you're watching stuff with your parents, you can't watch stuff like Game of Thrones. It's just awkward. I mean, it's awkward anyway, so... yeah. So we watched a film on Apple TV. Well, it's not out yet, but it's on their kind of screeners list. And Coda is one of them. And I knew nothing about it. I had to do some research about it after the fact. And now I know it won a bunch of awards at Sundance. And I was like, oh, okay, people like this film. And I did a review for it. I just kind of chucked it out there to see if anybody else had any thoughts on it. I didn't know that 200 people had already reviewed it from Sundance. So I was like, oh, man. But I have to say, for me, it's the best film I've seen this year. It's incredible. For those that don't know anything about it, it's about a young woman who has a family that are deaf. Her brother's deaf, her mother's deaf, and her father's deaf. And she basically ends up being the carer for her family. At the same time, she has an amazing talent for music. She can sing really well. And so we have these two worlds that are between this fishing family who are deaf and this young daughter who can hear, and sings really well. And these worlds kind of do that. But it's oh, so expertly done. You're on board emotionally. There are emotional impacts in this film that they obviously like. They were waiting for moments to kind of get you, and when they do get you, I was like, I think all of us on the couch, we were literally, it's really dusty in the room, man. We need to do some hoovering. Yeah. I think a few times during the film, because there are moments that's just really hard to watch, and the other moments that at the end of the film, I just felt like I was uplifted. I was like, whoa, that was good. That was like well acted. The presence of some of the actors that they have on screen were just incredible. She was incredible, the main actress, but the father, I would need to go back and check his name, but the father, he was so funny in the real kind of dad way, and that's probably because I'm a dad. Maybe that's why, I don't know, maybe that's why I related the most, but I just connected with the dad level on this, like, immediately. It was like, this is amazing, because they've taken a family that is deaf, but they've made it so real that you're there with them, and then there's emotional impact moments when there's no sound, and you're just seeing sign arguments or sign, eating at dinner. I was like, wow, literally mesmerized. You've seen it, right?
I have, yeah. I saw it at
What did you think?
Sundance, and my review, I loved it. It was one of the best ones that I saw at Sundance. And yes, one of the best movies I've seen all year too. I completely agree. I mean, the emotional impact that they have, and the ride that the story takes us on, I was sucked in. And yes, absolutely. Oh gosh, are we? Yeah, I'm full on
Yeah.
crying here. I'm just going to. I mean, and then the mixture with comedy and levity also, and I totally agree with the dad. Oh my gosh, like he's so
Yeah.
real. That was the thing that he's fully accepted. I mean, this is who I am. I can't hear, and I sign, and I do my work, and but then you get to see those little frustrations come out of having to deal with the hearing world, and then that struggle with how they have I don't want to get too detailed, but how with the hearing daughter, just some of the reliances that they have on her, and but when we get to the end, I mean, it gave me
Yeah.
goosebumps.
100%.
It was like that moment that I wanted to happen, and it was truly, yeah, one of the best ones that I have watched also this year, because it is, I think, I hope it really gets recognized, because I know the dad is either deaf or hearing impaired. Marlee Matlin, who plays the mom, is the daughter can hear, but she learned sign to do this. And I don't know if the director or the director might be an actual child of deaf adults, and so that could be part of that personal tie-in. And so
Just
it was
incredible.
totally
Yeah.
agree with you.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's the sort of film you could switch on again almost immediately afterwards, because you kind of want to see if you missed anything in the conversation, and what's going on, and also you just like feel good while watching it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I like, because in our house we have, my wife is her hearing is deteriorating, and so we are beginning to learn sign language, and so it has a personal impact for us here. But I love the fact that more and more films are showing
Yeah.
sign
Me too.
language.
Yeah.
And it's not becoming this taboo. I don't know if it was really taboo, but you know what I mean.
Just
Like
wasn't
it
done.
wasn't.
Yeah.
It was kind of hushed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so I appreciate that we're seeing more of this. That it's becoming normalized to just be, hey, this. Yeah, it's like if somebody was speaking Russian or Spanish or whatever. They're so you have the subtitles on, or you have somebody that translates. Either way, it doesn't really matter. And I think it's awesome to see that another expression of a language.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Such a great film. Okay, enough of me
Yeah.
gushing about the Coda. What's next on your list for this week?
Two things that are, well, just do one first. sometimes I just want that escape. I just want, I'm not going to review it. It's just a mental break for me, something that I can laugh or whatever. And I am a huge fan of the original British Top Gear.
Yeah.
And with Jeremy, Richard, and James. And once they left BBC and the Top Gear and Top Gear, yes, and then went over to Amazon to make the Grand Tour. It's TG that just screws with me. I loved it. Even if you're not a car person, I mean, they make some very enjoyable and entertaining content. And so this last one, because of COVID, because of everything they've had, it's been very sporadic, they've done some specials. And so this one is Lochdown, and they go to Scotland, and it's just, it's stupid entertainment. I laughed out loud way more than I normally do, and I don't know if maybe that was just I needed that. I don't know if it was necessarily really that funny, but it struck me. And so I found myself like, oh my gosh, I am really laughing out loud in small bursts here and there with that because of the antics and everything.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I love Top Gear. That was obviously as a British stable, and everybody was pretty upset when they left, and obviously then it became an Amazon thing, and it's good, but it still doesn't have quite the same feel as to the original Top Gear. But their specials are always the thing that I levitate towards. I like the individual episodes, but those specials, they pour so much adventure into that and just craziness, just stupid. I'm yet to watch that, but that's definitely going to be on my list.
Yeah, it is a fun one. I agree. Yeah, the specials, that's really, I mean, if you're not a car person, if you want something that's entertainment, watching the specials, because they go different places, and to see them experience the culture, and sometimes or a lot of time offending people and being mildly offensive. It was a good time. So I'm glad I sat down and just watched it, because my brain needed a little bit of just a whew, okay.
We just need a chill time.
Exactly. All right. What's something else that you checked out?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of DC Comics. I haven't read many, but I watch a lot of animated films. Whenever there's a DC film that comes out, I'll try and get it if I can and add to my collection. But when Titans came out, I was dubious, because I'm a big fan of the animated series, Teen Titans. It went dark and it was funny, and it had 5 seasons, got big cult following. But I wasn't like not impressed with the first season. It was fun. Titans, I'm talking about now. HBO original series, dark. You have like, I'm not going to call them old Titans, just adult Titans. Like adult Titans. It's no longer just Titans. Teen Titans. I won't sing the theme song for you.
Please do.
No, nobody wants that. So we have them swearing, killing, breaking bones. It's gory, it's bloody, it's just full on. And so we had really interesting storylines. I'm not going to recap the first 2 seasons because we'd be here forever. But anyway, we're back. They're reeling from the events, the end of season 2, and now we're stuck with them kind of coming to terms with who they are as a team now. They kind of can rely on what's gone on before, so they don't have to do any building. So they can get stuck into this new arc, which is all Gotham. It's all kind of Batman's realm, and it's all about the Red Hood. And if you know anything about the Red Hood, you'll know it's to do with the Robins, and where they take the story from there is interesting. I'm 6 episodes in, because I keep getting screeners like HBO does. They're like, just one pops up. Like, I already did my review in the first 4. Why didn't you give that to me earlier? First world problem, absolutely. But I've been really impressed with it so far. It's really taken its time, kind of developing the story, kind of given us an arc we really wanted with Red Hood, I think. And it's such a beloved character, and it has a really dark story, even in the darkness of this Titans series, so that you have your team with Beast Boy trying to be almost the Jiminy Cricket, trying to hold the team together. You have the Superboy, who is trying to live up to Clark Kent's name, or Superman. He wants to be that, but trying to live up to the Superman, almost like a god. It's almost impossible for him. And then you have other family members that are dealing with their powers on the fritz. We've got Starfire, who's dealing with family members. We've got Robin, who's dealing, Nightwing now, who's dealing with, trying to be the dad of the team and living under the shadow of Batman. And Batman, what they're going for, or what they're trying to show us, is that Batman really messed them up as kids, because going into that lifestyle, being the Robin and seeing that sort of violence day in and day out, but he had to basically break them down like you would in an army camp. You know, they break you down and then build you up into something what he needs you to be. And having done that, Nightwing, or that Robin, Dick Grayson, managed to come away from that and become his own man. But this one, because of his past and his stories, he really went into Bruce Wayne being his dad, father figure. He lent into that. And so when some of the reins are pulled back, saying, this is not good for you, I don't want to make the same mistakes as I've made with Dick Grayson, he takes that as a real offense and says, no, I'll prove to you that I can be the Robin you want me to be. And so we have this really kind of heartfelt storyline. You're kind of rooting for him, but you're not rooting for him. And then you have the Teen Titans trying to deal with the mess that creates. And so far, it's been really entertaining. If you like Titans, I think this is the strongest season so far.
Right on. Well, I haven't watched, so is it how many episodes? How long are they?
They're about 45 minutes. They really kind of give time to their characters, and there's about 10 episodes, I think, if I'm thinking correctly, per season. Then definitely not the 20 episode ones. It's just 10 episodes, 45 minutes. I think you'll find once you start it, you'll be like, oh, okay, now I'm into it.
Just sucked into it. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I think. Did it start out on? Wasn't there a thing called like DC Universe?
Yeah, so it wasn't originally a HBO original, but it is now. Yeah.
But yeah, because I think HBO took over through Warner Brothers and everything. Okay, very cool. Right on. Yeah, I'll have to give that a watch at some point. I haven't. I've never even seen one episode, so I don't. Okay. I would go in fresh. As a complete
I'm glad I didn't
newbie.
Major spoilers then. Oh, and this guy dies, and you won't believe it.
No. That's good. Well, that's okay, even if you did. But that's so I like darker, especially if there's some really good rich characters. So that sounds.
I mean,
like
there's
a lot
definitely
of fun.
because they're just coming out of their teens and they're adults. There is a bit drama llama that you sometimes get in that kind of. But as long as you push that to the side and doesn't bother you too much, I think you'll enjoy it.
Nice. Right.
So what you got up your sleeve next?
Probably the last one that I'm just like super excited about is the teaser for season 4 of Cobra Kai dropped. Yes, and there's so much in that. I think it's like maybe a minute, maybe it's 45 seconds, of just watching all of these characters do some moves, and then they show us just little bits here and there. It has me really excited. December, I think, is when season 4 drops. It's really crazy at how nostalgic the show is, but I have found myself, when I came very late to the party, and so I binged all of season 1 and then season 2 a little bit right after season 2 had come out, and just watched it like over a weekend, just the whole thing, and could not tear myself away. And so are you a fan?
Yeah, I came a bit late to it as well, but I'm not surprised by that, because it was a YouTube original when YouTube originals was a thing. Now they only do weird YouTube originals. They're not investing in their kind of series anymore. By the by, if you haven't checked out Pulse, a YouTube original, check that out. That is like, have you ever seen the film Jumper? It's like a TV series of that.
Yes.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh,
really, really fun.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, sidetrack. Yeah, so I came a bit late to it, and then once I started, man, that was it. I think a day and a half later, I'd caught up, and then watched the 3rd season, and was just like, give me more now. The funny thing is, my father doesn't like it at all. He comes from that era. He was like, "No, man, it's so campy, it's so cheesy." It was like, do you remember the original Karate Kid? That's what Karate Kid was. And I love we've had that age-old kind of, what is it? Miyagi and the Karate Kid, they were actually the bad guys. That's the kind of the theory going around, that they were actually the bullies. And so fans have been stewing on that while watching this. And so we have these two definite camps now. I've got my Cobra Kai hoodie up there somewhere. So although I love Miyagi and the wax on and the wax off, there's definitely, you like a bit of both camps, I think. But the 3rd season, I think, almost put them together as being the good guys into one team, versus the new kind of the guys that were coming from the films originally, you know, the original sensei. I loved that bit where we get to see him in Vietnam and how he was kind of grown. I thought that added so much weight to the storyline. And I think they're going to continue using that as we're going into the tournament arc, basically, in season 4, right? Netflix are dropping a lot in December because we got The Witcher season 2, which is a big title for them. Massive. Probably their biggest, I imagine. And we got Cobra Kai, obviously, and a few other specials that are coming along the way. So, yeah, we're going to be busy in December.
Yes, we are. It's going to be a great binging session. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I'm looking forward to The Witcher as well. But, yeah, the Cobra Kai is just the story has sucked me in. And, you know, it was funny that I never saw Daniel as the bully until it kind of was mentioned in this, you know, in the series. And then I got to see it. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, when we watch it from Johnny's perspective.
You can see it.
Whoa. Yeah, it totally shifts. And so then you even see it come into like some of the arrogance that Danny has, that he bring, you know, in the current, the now. And so, yeah, but I loved the them coming together, Johnny and Daniel together to go against Kreese, to stand up to him at the end. And so I think
moment. Redemption arc almost,
yeah. Season 4 is going to be spectacular. I hope. I mean, I'm trying to manage expectations too. You know what I mean? Because you get to that point where you're like, "Ooh, it's going to be so great," and if it's unattainable, you know, I have my expectations way up here that you can't even reach, and that's not fair. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's really good. I'm going to do my best to manage. But yeah. Anything? Any other awesome things or weird things that you watched this week?
I watched a film that was panned by critics, I think, worldwide. It was called Shadow in the Clouds, and it stars Chloe Grace Moretz. I think it's based on a graphic novel, and the way it's filmed, is the majority of this film where she's in I think it's an old bomber, and she's this person that's basically stowed away. She's forced herself on the plane. She needs to get from A to B, and the guys on it, it's their job to basically make sure that anybody that is on their plane is not who's not meant to be there isn't there. And so they have a huge problem with her. So they stick her down in one of those canopy, the gunner pods. They lock her in there. And there's a majority of the film where she's just like talking to them through an earpiece, and the way we get to see how they're reacting to what she's saying is you get to see visualizations of what they're saying. So it's like a really colorful neon kind of speck that's just kind of splattered onto the screen. And I thought that was really clever. A lot of people didn't like that. But then it takes a turn for something different where the graphic novel kind of comes in and it plays on, there's this fable, the whole film starts with a kind of advert where there's this fable about the gremlins in the skies. And so if you think about that, you take it goes on the more fantasy route. And my parents would call this a FUBAR film. It's like way back in the day, when you're, I would say 80s, late 70s, if you're in bars and you had a TV on and there was like really, really kind of bad werewolf films, you're watching, as a kid, you're watching a film you probably shouldn't be watching, but you sneak in there drinking your little milkshake and going, this is going to give me nightmares, but I'm still watching. You know, it's that type of film. And my mother was watching it with me. She's like, why are you making me watch this, Ruben? I was like, how can you not enjoy it? What's going to happen? Who's going to survive? And I loved it for it knew exactly what it was. It didn't try and be anything else. And by the end, you have a sort of an aliens almost kind of heroine. You know, so Chloe Grace Moretz becomes like Sigourney Weaver sort of character. And that's why I thought it's much better than the critics give it time for, because they didn't really give it its due. Like, what is this film trying to say? What is it trying to do? It's not trying to be what you think it's trying to be. It's a kind of low budget action gory fest with snarky guys being sexist, and in amongst that you have this fantasy element. And so I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've seen it before, but I watched it again and I was like, yeah, I still like this film.
Right on. Where is it, like on VOD,
is it in the UK? It's on Amazon Prime as I think one of their new original films. It might be on Amazon Prime for everybody. It might be one of those titles. But yeah, it's definitely on VOD now. It didn't have a big cinema
Okay.
release, but if you like Chloe Grace Moretz, I think you're probably halfway there. If you liked her in Kick-Ass, it's... Which one, Kick-Ass? That was her, right? Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Fun.
Oh, okay. Cool. Shadow in the
Yeah,
Clouds.
Shadow in the Clouds. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Right on.
have you
Very
got anything
cool.
else?
Really quick, a couple of things that I've got coming. I watched three things, two movies that are coming out in 2 weeks, and these are probably the most bizarre things that I've watched in a really, really long time.
Okay.
One is called Cryptozoo,
Right.
and it is it's an animation. It's animated. The animation, the art is beautiful. I don't think it's going to resonate with everybody, but it is the time that they took to make this. You can tell it is outstanding. It's hand drawn, just really great. It made the festival circuit. I missed it both at South by Southwest and Sundance, and so I was able to get a screener for it. Review is going to come in like 2 weeks when it actually
Right.
drops. The other movie is coming to Amazon Prime in 2 weeks also, and it was like the opening film at Cannes this
Okay.
year, and it's called Annette, and that is Marion Cotillard, and I think that's how you pronounce her last name, and Adam Driver.
Nice. Good cast.
And again, bizarre
Okay.
film. Both of these, like, I don't.
I don't know how you feel about them.
they're. Yeah. I'm still processing, because they're. It's a lot to take in. I think really that's it. They're very visual. They're very beautiful to look at. It's then where the story comes and how it impacts me. That's where I'm like trying to unpack some of that. I attempted to watch. Let's just say that. Here's your warning. I watched it. It's a brand new. It dropped at least in the U.S. on Amazon Prime. It's Soldados o Zombies. Soldiers
I
or
was
zombies.
going to watch this. Thanks for doing it for me.
I didn't get through. I got through one
Right.
episode.
Okay.
Maybe I'll give it another chance at some point. I just thought, you know what, this might be just fun. I don't know.
It's
We'll
zombies,
see.
yeah.
Maybe it's cheesy. Maybe exactly. Maybe it's a little campy. The graphics are terrible. I was having a really hard time resonating with any of the characters. I just didn't care. That was the thing, and it was jumping from scenario to scenario without giving me any reason to care about any of these characters, and so there's going to be peril at some point, just because they're zombies, right? And so somebody's going to get hurt or die or whatever. And at the end of it, I was like, you know what? Even though they were like 30, 35 minutes, somewhere around there, they're short episodes. I couldn't do that to myself. I was just like, I gotta, nope,
Yeah.
finding something else to do. So there's your warning. Maybe I'll go back to it. I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to give that a miss. Are you going to catch... Because this week, I'm actually going to see a screener tomorrow or sometime this week for Free Guy. I'm very excited to watch this because it's finally coming out. Is that on your list?
Yes. That is on my for this week. That's one that I am going to see. I'm like you. I'm looking forward to it. Finally came out. It's Ryan Reynolds. I expect ridiculousness.
Yeah, I mean, because there's been a few reviews that are out already, and so far it's really good. So I've got my fingers crossed that it keeps up with that. Ryan Reynolds doing his thing in a matrixy sort of virtual reality world. Hopefully good. Hopefully the jokes land, because I think that's the thing that worries me. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, I think, you look at the cast, and I think the chemistry has the potential to be there. And I like a lot of the actors in there. Jodie Comer, which I think she is brilliant in Killing Eve. Taika Waititi is in it. And so I think even the guy from Stranger Things, I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So I think
Yeah.
yes, should be fun. Hopefully it's a lot of fun. It looks like it could be. It's just one of those summer movies. You know what I mean? The action packed, lots of fun, some good good comedy, some good explosions, hopefully a decent kind of storyline within there, and then I can just walk out with a big smile on my face.
Definitely one we can talk about next week and see if we're still smiling.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, anything else you're looking forward to this week?
There's some
up?
Netflix stuff that's dropping. For me, I'm going to do my anime thing. I believe there's an anime series coming. I'll see if it's good. You can always tell in the first couple of episodes. You're like, anime art style's not going to be great. I can start sifting it through in my phone now, right? And then you're like, all right, no, it's good. Okay, phone away. So we never know. But yeah, between HBO, Amazon, and Netflix, they seem to be dropping a lot. I think there's some individual series that are coming out this week from Hulu as well. 9 Perfect Strangers, I mentioned that once. There's one with Joseph Gordon-Levitt that I started watching called Corbin. Is it called Corbin? That's on...
Corman?
Mr. Corman. Yeah.
Mr. something.
So I watched the first couple of episodes. Okay. I'm still on the fence with that. It's dry. It's weird. I don't like him as a character yet, so I'm not invested. I'm just like, I don't like you, dude. So maybe they're just writing it that way, but it's really well filmed and scripted, and that's kind of what you'd expect with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. The script is very tight. The dialogue is very tight. I believe he's an executive producer and the creator of the show or something, so he's got his hands in the whole project. So that's one to look out for, Mr. Corman, I think. There's lots of these like mini series that are just sneaking in that have some advertising, but might get past you because there's so much content that drops all the time now. So 9 Perfect Strangers, Mr. Corman, there's going to be stuff like that dropping all the time now already.
Right on. Yeah. My Netflix is kind of packed. Two that I'm really looking forward to, and one I actually watched last night, and so I've got to get my review ready. Is Beckett with John David Washington. Okay. I had fun with it. Yeah. That's nice. All I'm going to give you. Nice. Yeah, exactly. And then one that I pretty much know nothing about. I don't remember even watching the trailer for it. It's called Brand New Cherry Flavor, and it's a limited series that's dropping on Netflix, I think, at the end of this week. And I don't know if it's horror.
Yeah, I saw that.
Or I mean the poster with a person with a cherry in her mouth, but it has an eyeball in it. It makes me think horror, or at least something like thriller, weird, something like that. So that's another one. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I'm, maybe it'll be awesome. I don't know.
What we didn't talk
if it makes the list for next week.
Which we both mentioned last week is Vivo.
Yes.
We kind of have to. Should we make this our last one?
I think so. Yes. Okay. Yes. Let's do that.
So Vivo, I'll hear your thoughts first.
I didn't know, like I didn't watch any trailers going into it. So I had just seen some of the artwork and I was blown away. It was beautiful. Lin-Manuel Miranda, I continue to be massively impressed with his songwriting. And then, I don't think he has necessarily the best singing voice. His delivery, like I said in my review, he could keep up, I think, with Eminem. I would like to see those two go head to head. Yeah, the rate at which words come out of his mouth and are enunciated and clear, it's phenomenal. But I had a blast with this movie. From the animation, both with the 3D and then the flat 2D that they incorporated within. I really enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun with the story itself. I liked the journey that they were on. I think it was fairly predictable. It wasn't like this hugely deep story or something that we haven't seen before, but I still enjoyed the ride.
You say that, but I was so invested in the beginning that I didn't see the thing that happened at the beginning coming, and I was like, you can't do that. This is not a Disney film. I was so upset. I was like, what? What the hell? But then I was even more invested, and once you get to that end, the journey, where it's going to happen, but the songs that the story tells are just brilliant. And then I thought the little girl story was actually very well kind of spliced in there. So she had, you know, she's got her own unique quirks, and she has got no real friends really, but she's kind of sticking to her guns of who she wants to be. Her type of music making is very different to what our ape. What is he? He's not even an ape. He's not a monkey.
Kikaju.
A Kikaju. Yeah.
So a honey
A
bear.
honey bear, exactly.
Yeah.
Did you think of is a car the snake in the Jungle Book when you saw the giant snake doing his singing bit?
Yes, yes. And Michael Rooker, I think, was like an awesome
Such a great
choice.
Wow. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, there were moments that just kind of rarely shined. The whole film was great and the animation looked amazing, but I'm not a huge musical fan. I'm not that sort of dude. My family grew up loving musicals, and there's occasional ones that they're like, you gotta watch, and they forced me to watch Hamilton, and I was like, I don't understand what they're saying. Like, I gotta be able to invest myself in the story. I gotta be able to hear the words. So I was a little bit like, oh no, it's Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's the same as Hamilton. Well, and I understood everything. You know, it was just clear. The journey was there, and I was like, this is so good. Sony Animations, you guys are kicking ass.
Yeah, and I mean, with that partnership now that they've made with Netflix as that distribution partner, I think we're going to see more coming from them. And I think that could be exciting, especially if they maintain this level of quality that they're really, you know, investing in their art. Yeah. And I had a lot of fun with it. It surprised me, actually. I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah, I expected kids kind of generic fun story, but then I was invested. I was like, huh, okay.
Yeah, really well done. I'm glad that I watched it. So yeah, definitely.
Cool. I think that's all I've got for this week.
That's all I got for this week too.
Cool. I don't know why I'm doing this.
So
I'm doing a little dance.
Yeah. Is that a dance? Is that what we're
dancing? With some dance. Okay. It's a new thing.
That's so
it's
weird.
It's a new one.
Is it
no longer like what kind of dance would you call this? I don't think it takes any skill.
I think it's something that gets you kicked out of the clubs. If you do.
Yeah, like gets out. Don't even bother joining the line. Just go home.
Yeah, go. No queuing. Bye bye.
Right. Well, this was fun. Next week then.
Absolutely, yeah. So, hey, if you, we'd like to know what you liked this week. What was the best thing you watched this week? What was the worst thing you watched? Yeah. Also, maybe you could steer us away.
Yeah, because I think the worst thing I watched was The Swarm. That interesting premise, and then the end. And I was just like,
Yeah, a little rushed for me. Yeah. So, all right, we'll see. Maybe is The Swarm on your list? Is there something else? What are you looking forward to also in this coming week? I get a lot of suggestions. I don't always make it on my list, or at least something that I can watch right away. But I do add them to my list, and probably Ruben, the same thing for you. That you get, everybody chimes in and is like, "Ooh, have you watched this? Have you watched this?" Well, not yet. I've never even heard of that.
Sometimes I watch it and I go, "What are you smoking? This was horrendous." But other times it's like, they just added to your list of greats.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks for joining us so much. Like, share, subscribe, send it to your friends. Make sure you definitely comment. Let us know what you like about this, what you're looking forward to, and the best thing that you watched this week. Thanks.